Well, good morning. February the 28th, last day of February, because it's not a leap year this year, is it? So, incredible, month of February, almost finished. I wonder who's had a birthday in February, or maybe you had a birthday in January. I can't remember if we talked about January birthdays. We've got an awful lot of catching up to do, haven't we, when we all meet up with each other again. Anyway, I hope that you have had a good half term, that you've done some lovely different things. Maybe you're back at school, or maybe you're still learning at home, whatever you're doing. I hope you're really enjoying it and looking forward to March the 8th when you'll be able to be back with your friends again. Anyway, let's get going with Discoverers Online. Last time we were doing things about the heart, do you remember? And we did a bit of running and trying to get our pulse rates up and everything. Well, we're sticking with the theme of the body and keeping well and healthy, and perhaps not feeling so healthy. But today we're going to think a little bit more about the bones and the actual body. So we're going to start off with a game. Now I'm going to have Bill to help me with this game. So Bill, I think I'll use a green chalk. I'm going to draw a line about here. Okay? That's the finish line, Bill. And our starting line will be just about here by the hippopotamus sandpit. All right. We have a straw and a table tennis ball. So you have a straw and a table tennis ball. We don't have any paper straws these days, so I don't know how well these work. And so what we're going to do is put our table tennis balls on the ground. And when I say go, we're going to see who's the first one to blow them to the finish line. Oh, it's a long way down. On your marks, get set, go. Oh no. I can't make mine work at all, I don't think. Oh, what am I going to do? Mine won't blow.
Hey!
So Bill won that game. I didn't have enough puff to even make mine blow. I think somebody had blocked up my straw so I couldn't win. But you know, that was a great activity for getting our bodies moving. We had to get right down low to do it. So let's follow that then with a quiz about the body. How much do you know about the body? Are you ready? You can write just A, B, C or D if you want, if that's easier for you, or put the names down. 10 questions, let's get going. And these are, I'll ask you a question, there are 4 possible answers and you have to say which one it is. Okay, what is the smallest bone in the body? A, the patella, B, the stirrup, C, the thigh, and D, teeny. Okay. Second question. Bones meet at A, joints, B, ligaments, C, a local restaurant, and D, the rib cage. I'd rather meet at a local restaurant myself. Question number 3. How many bones does an adult human have? A, 500, B, 110, C, 206, D, 55. Okay. Question number 4. The bones in your spine, okay, down your back, are called A, cartilage, B, little bones, C, ribs, and D, vertebrae. Okay, question number 5. The patella is located in A, the knee, B, the foot, E, the ear, or D, the elbow. Number 6. What is in the centre of your bone? Is it A, cream filling, B, compact bone, C, cancellous bone, or D, bone marrow? Question number 7. Your bones will stop growing by the time you're A, 93, I'm not there yet, B, 25, just about there, C, 30, or D, 13? Question number 8. How many bones are there in the spine? Are there A, 1 million, B, 65, C, 33, or D, 14? Okay, what is the name of the bone that protects your brain? Is it A, the tail, B, the shin, C, the back, or D, the skull? Hope you knew that one. And the last question, number 10. The rib cage protects your A, liver, your B, heart, C, your lungs, or D, all of the above? Okay, ready for the quick answers? And these questions are on the letter that's come out with this recording, so you can check them out later. So, smallest bone in the body is the stirrup. B, the stirrup. Bones meet at A, joints. How many bones does an adult human have? C, 206. The bones in your spine are called D, vertebra. The patella is located in A, the knee. What is in the centre of a bone? It's D, bone marrow. Your bones will stop growing by the time you're B, 25. How many bones are in the spine? Well, it's C, 33. What is the bone that protects your brain? It is the skull. Front door. I just heard the front door go. I'll get there. And the last question, the rib cage protects your D, all of the above. It protects your liver, your heart and your lungs. Well, there we go. I wonder how well you did. If you had 10 marks for each question, what percentage did you get right? I wonder. First time round I got 80%. Not so good. I need to do a bit of revising on the body, don't I? Well, last time, 2 weeks ago, we were thinking about how Jesus befriended Zacchaeus. Remember, Zacchaeus wasn't very popular, but Jesus wanted him to become a friend and befriended him when nobody else liked him. And so over the next few weeks until we get closer to Easter, we're thinking about the different relationships that Jesus formed with different people. Because Jesus really wanted to make relationships with other people. God wants us to have relationships. He designed us. Do you remember we talked about that before? Okay, so Jesus was very busy, he was very popular, everybody wanted to be with him. And he was out and about one day, and this man came really, really anxious and said, Jesus, please come, my daughter is very, very ill. Now this man's name was Jairus. And Jesus heard what he said, but he was very busy. There were other people wanting to talk to him, other things he wanted to do. And Jairus, as you can imagine, as a father with a sick child, was getting more and more and more anxious. And eventually, after such a long time of waiting, it must have felt for Jairus, Jesus eventually came to Jairus' house. And when he got there were lots of people sobbing and crying because they feared the little girl was dead. Jesus was too late. Jairus was upset. He'd wanted Jesus to come earlier and he hadn't come. And Jesus looked at Jairus, and I expect he felt for him, thought, this poor guy, really hard when your daughter is so ill. And he went into the little girl's room and he said to other people, go away. The crowds, he didn't want lots of crowds around this little girl who was so ill, who was dying. And Jesus said, get up. He held her hand and he said, get up. And Jairus' daughter sat up and she was well again. She was okay. Jesus had healed this little girl who'd been so ill. People thought she was dead because she was so ill. And yet Jesus, because he loved other people, because he loved Jairus, because he loved the little girl, he made her better again. Really interesting when we read the stories of the accounts of Jesus' life. His life was full about wanting to make positive, good relationships with other people. Relationships which showed that he cared. Relationships that showed that he was interested. Relationships that showed that he listened. And we can learn a lot from that. We can learn a lot from the way that Jesus was with other people. And it may be that actually today there is somebody who you know who's not very well at all, and maybe they would benefit from a card that you could make and send to them. And maybe it is that there's other people that you know that actually could do with just a bit of friendship from you. We can learn a lot about relationships, learn a lot about making good friends and being faithful friends. It must have been hard for Jairus waiting, but he waited and Jesus came. Sometimes that's another lesson for us to learn too. We may ask God for something and we have to wait. Not easy, is it, waiting? Okay, so what are we going to do now? I think what we'll do now is we'll move on to thinking about our activity. Now, you may have done this activity through school a bit, I don't know. But I think this last year has been a really interesting year. A challenging year, certainly has been challenging. Now, supposing in 100 years' time, somebody came to live in your house, they might have wondered, oh, who lived here? Wonder what their life was like. What did they do? Where did they go? How old were they? Can you hear the children in the playground? Just next door to our house. You know, were there children at school? Were there children at home? What was going on? Let's make a time capsule. Now, ideally, if you're going to bury your time capsule outside somewhere in the garden, you need to have something that's waterproof. Or maybe it is that somebody's doing some work in your home and you've got the floorboards up or something, and you could fill a cardboard box and bury it. You might do a small box. You might have a big box. It doesn't really matter what size you choose. Depends what you're going to put in it, and it depends the space where you're going to hide it. Now, I thought, and I'm sure we have, but I suspect that girls got it with things in, that we had a really secure metal tin somewhere, because that's what I'd really like to use, because I would bury it in the garden. I don't think anybody would be very happy if I started pulling up the floorboards here. Okay, so what might you put in your time capsule? Because you want to tell the people in 100 years' time, or maybe 50 years' time, what life was like in this year of COVID. So, well, I thought one thing that you might definitely want to start with is a newspaper. So this is today's newspaper. Okay, so schools told to work out their own exam grades and top music festivals will go ahead. Okay, so the front page of that newspaper might be really good. And can you think why a newspaper would be really good? Not just because it tells you the news. What else is on it? Thursday, February the 25th, because that's when I'm recording this, okay? So it's got the date on it, so it's a clear indicator of the date. So that would be really useful. What about some money? Because money may have changed a lot by then. So you could have some coins, and I thought, particularly to have a 1p, I don't think they'll exist. I don't think they'll exist in 10 years' time, let alone 50 or 100. Okay. What about photographs? Now I've got these lovely photographs that are very particular for this year, and you might have something there. Ones that are related to this year, which may have something written on the back, but it could just be really important photographs of your family with your names on the back and the date of the photograph. That would be interesting. McDougall ribbon. We'd have to have McDougall ribbon. You might have something that's very typical of your family to put in. Now, COVID year. Okay, sanitizer. Rubber gloves. And a mask. Essential for COVID year. Now, you would need to say why those things were in there. Then you may want to put some things that relate to you personally. So you might put in a toy that you can bear to let go. I would put in this, which is a newsletter about a charity that I work with. So that might be something. And then there's all the information that we need to give. So I put for you in the letter 2 possible packs, which will give you some ideas where you can fill some stuff in. And a great idea is for you to write a letter to whoever finds this, saying who you are, how old you are, why COVID is a special time to be writing about at the moment. Your parents might put a letter in, all sorts of information to help you think about what you're going to put in your time capsule and then where you're going to pack it away to. Okay, so I hope you enjoy getting going with that. Your time capsule, so that in 100 years' time people say, oh yeah, you lived here. How interesting. Okay, so now it's time to dial down a bit and remember the people that we're going to pray for. So we get our 5 fingers up again. The thumb, the people closest to me. So your family. Grandparents maybe, hope to see them fairly soon. The next finger, of course, is the people who care for you, the teachers, the nurses, the doctors. The next finger is the tall finger, that's praying for our government. We really need to pray for them. And we're grateful that we're beginning to see how we can get out of lockdown. The next finger are for people who are ill, people who need our extra prayers and our extra help. And the last little finger, last but not least, it's for us. Yes, we pray for us. So we can do our prayers, and when we finish our prayers, we do that big amen. Yeah, let it happen. Okay. Okay, now we're going to do some singing. So you may well remember this song. Right. Now, you've got this as well on your letter, and if you like to have a good old dance, a good move, don't forget, whack up the volume and get your bodies going. Get those bones, get those ligaments, get those muscles, get everything going and have a really good dance. It does us good. Okay.
He's the one who makes the sun shine. He's the one who puts the moon in the sky. He's the one who hung the stars one by one. He's the one who makes the birds sing. He's the one who makes your dreams so high. He's the one who makes me smile day by day. Jesus, you're my superhero. You're my star, my best friend. Jesus, you're my superhero. You're my star, my best friend. Jesus, you're my superhero. You're my star, my best friend. Jesus, you're my superhero. You're my star, my best friend.
Brilliant. Anyway, you have for yourself a good sing and a good move around in your house. Enjoy making your time capsule. Remember those people who you know who aren't particularly well, who might need your extra love and attention. Remember about the importance of friendship and relationships, and looking out for those people who perhaps we've not spent much time with. And remember as well, sometimes when we ask God for things, we have to wait, and it's not always easy. And now we're going to have to wait 2 more weeks until I see you again. So 2 weeks time, I think it will be March the 14th. And remember, shh, it's Mother's Day on March the 14th. So look forward to seeing you then. Bye.